So in the last batch of episodes, we continue this meeting with Sandy and JR that looks like it's before both of their engagement ceremonies. And this was the part where JR and Sandy have a little check-in, and I guess the objective of this scene was to see how they feel about each other. Do they have real feelings for each other? Are they going to leave their partners for each other? That was the big question. And from the way that they were moving, it seemed like it was going to be a real possibility, especially from JR's side. It seems like JR was obsessed with Sandy. Sandy is his white queen fantasy that he's been waiting to have enough money to have. Now, at first, I felt like Sandy was just here to have fun. It seems like she's been single since day one and Nick was just unaware. And JR was just a little bit of fun, you know? She's been brought to this soft swinging experiment, so she was like, if I'm gonna have to swing, might as well be with JR. But they seem to get on really well, and I'm not gonna lie, I was here for it, low-key rooting for them. And they've caught a lot of flack. People are saying they're disrespectful, they betrayed their partners, yada, yada, yada. But I'm sorry, people need to be absolutely for real, and see this experiment for what it is, a foolish, soft swinging experiment. The actual premise of this show is one person wants to get married and is basically pressuring their partner to get married. So in order to do that, they brought them to this soft swinging experiment where they have to be single and then date other people and then be in a trial marriage with a different person. And the overarching theme is that you guys are both meant to be jealous of each other or fall in love with your trial partner. Then get back together. You either miss each other or are constantly comparing each other to your trial marriage. And then you pick whether you want to marry them or dump them for good. That's literally what this show is about. So I just don't get this whole, oh, they're cheating on their partners, it's betrayal. This is the part of the experiment. You can't sign up to the experiment and then pick and choose what parts you want. And both Nick and Zaina have said, yeah, you guys haven't done anything wrong. It's just the fact that you have not been completely transparent about, how intimate you guys got. Because that's the experiment that they signed up for. In the grand scheme of things, have JR and Nick been disrespectful to their partners? Yes, I do think they have been. But in the same breath, don't take your partner to a foolish experiment and be surprised when foolish things happen. And personally for me, watching the show, when things like this happen, I assume that this person doesn't love their partner, is not invested in their partner like that, and is probably going to leave single. For me, when I start going is when they've done a madness and then agreed to get engaged to their partner. And the partner themselves, who knows that their partner's done a madness, has agreed to marry them as well. And again, it is a foolish show, so I feel like we should expect that. But anyway, back to JR and Sandy. So at this point, I'm thinking maybe they might become a viable couple. Maybe not get engaged and get married, but at the very least, date, see where it goes. I personally didn't see them lasting a long term, but I think, after the whirlwind of this experiment, maybe they might give it a go. And I'm not mad at that concept. I think in their trial marriage, they were kind of cute. So they have this meeting and JR is basically pouring his heart out to Sandy, and Sandy friend zones him. And yeah, JR thought he was gonna be running off into the sunset with his wait, no. Sandy was like, yeah, we're just friends and we'll always have each other's back, but yeah, we're just friends. JR tried to disguise it as best as he could, but he was pissed off and he was distraught and he probably felt embarrassed. And I think at this point, it was obvious that JR thought that Sandy was going to go running back to Nick. But yeah, JR was clearly upset, maybe even a little heartbroken that his fantasy was not going to come to fruition. But yeah, Sandy was clearly here just for a little bit of fun. JR was the best option for her in the experiment. She probably knew it was going to make Nick jealous. And yeah, she was looking for a good time. And yeah, this was a good storyline for her. I think Sandy kind of knew that she was leaving Nick. And with Nick's behavior, Nick just made that an easy decision for her. So when he suggested this show, she was like, you know what? I'm going to do the best with what I got. And her storyline with JR was a juicy one. It's got people talking. So Sandy's mission was accomplished. Sandy's clearly a sprinkle girl, and JR's constantly talking about, oh, I want to be like in a good place financially. I'm not there yet. So she was probably assessing the situation and thinking, JR does not have Nick's budget, so it's not going to last long. It's not going to go anywhere. Sprinkle, sprinkle. On top of that, JR, he's a bit of a bonehead, and he has many red flags. So I think, like I said, Sandy was just here for some fun. It wasn't that serious. At this point, I'm thinking maybe there's a chance of her going back to Nick. But most of me thought that, yeah, I think she's just coming out of his single. But I gotta hear from you guys. Are you surprised that Sandy basically rejected JR? And how did you find it? Did you find it funny? Do you feel like this is a bit of karma for JR? Did anyone see this coming? Like, she just came here to have some fun, get her screen time, and then dip. There's been a lot of speculation that these two had sex, but I feel like this breakup kind of confirms that they didn't, because I think JR would be like, but we literally were intimate with each other and like now you don't want me, like kind of thing. So yeah, I really don't think that they had sex. But I feel like most people think that they did. But I feel like this breakup and how it went down kind of solidified that, because I think JR would have been bitter enough to reveal that if it was meant to be a secret. But what do you guys think? I feel like most of you are still going to be like, no, they fucked. What are you guys' assessment on this relationship?